Boy, will Jason be surprised. Hey, look, there's Greek letters. That must be the house.
Hold on, baby, I'm taking you back to school. When logic fails, don't lose your head.
Back to School is a 1986 comedy film directed by Alan Metter that would be a massive box office success. In 1940 New York City, young teenager Thornton Maloney, played by Jason Hervey, is chastised by his Italian immigrant father Tony, played by Boris Applin, for having subpar grades on his report card.
I don't care how rich or successful a man is, if he don't got an education, he's got nothing.
I tried, Pop. I can't do it.
Then try harder. You can do anything in life you want to do. Remember, you're a Maloney.
46 years later, Thornton, played by Rodney Dangerfield, now using the surname Mellon, is a nationally known and extremely wealthy businessman with numerous business ventures and a successful chain of plus-size clothing stores called Tall and Fat.
Are you fat? When you go jogging, do you leave potholes? When you make love, do you have to give directions? At the zoo, do elephants throw you peanuts? Do you look at a menu and say, okay?
Thornton is married to his second wife, Vanessa, played by Adrienne Barbeau.
Thornton, I'd like you to meet Mr. and Mrs. Stuyvesant.
Oh, right.
How do you do, Thornton?
I know. Hi, Nessa. How are you?
The two do not get along well, and Vanessa is unfaithful.
I want a divorce.
Divorce. I knew we had something in common. Here, sign these.
Oh, I'm afraid it's not going to be that easy, honey. This is going to cost you plenty.
Oh, yeah? Vanessa, let's talk about class a minute, all right? Here's you and Giorgio in a guest room. A little classy, isn't it? Here's you and Giorgio in a rumpus room. Another classy one, huh? Oh, this one I can't figure it out. There's you, there's Giorgio. What's with the midget over here?
Thornton also has a son named Jason Mellon, played by Keith Gordon, who attends college in the upper Midwest at the fictional Grand Lakes University in Wisconsin. Jason tells his father he is considering dropping out of college. Thornton, alongside his bodyguard and chauffeur Lou, played by Burt Young, head to Wisconsin to visit Jason.
Jason, where are you? Hey, I need some help here. Hey, buddy, I'm talking to you. I need some help here. Oh, take it easy, honey. I didn't see a thing. You're perfect.
Surprising Jason and his friend Derek Lutz, played by Robert Downey Jr., Thornton motivates Jason to stay in college by deciding to enroll alongside him.
Jason, it's up to you. You can do it. Remember, you're a melon.
Dad, that's easy for you to say. You don't have to do any of it.
Okay, then. I'll do it with you.
What do you mean you'll do it with me?
I mean, just what I said. I'm going to college. What do you think?
What do I think? I think you're nuts.
Nuts, huh? Who made the rules?
Despite Thornton's lack of qualifications, Dean Martin, played by Ned Beatty, admits him after Thornton writes a check for a hefty donation for a new campus building.
As Calvin Coolidge once said, the business of America is business. And the business of an educational institution such as ours is to create young minds that understand that whatever it is that I have said here today.
Thornton soon draws the ire of Dr. Philip Barbet, dean of the business school, played by Paxton Whitehead, while intriguing Barbet's girlfriend, literature professor Dr. Diane Turner, played by Sally Kellerman.
Who is that?
That is Mr. Thornton Mellon, the world's oldest living freshman, and the walking epitome of the decline of modern education. The stupid clod thinks he can buy his way out of the gutter.
Oh, I don't think so. I think he was just having fun.
Oh, really? Well, I can't wait to get him in my class. We'll see how much fun he is then.
Oh, Philip.
In the meantime, Jason begins attracting a fellow student named Valerie Desmond, played by Terry Farrell.
You okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just upset because they closed botany.
Those bastards.
Well, I'm not that upset. At least I won't be if I get into astronomy.
You wanna cut in the line with us? Because we're already waiting.
Yes, yeah, I would.
Great, all right.
Jason's nemesis Chaz Osborne, played by William Zabka, also has his eye on Valerie, causing even more drama between the two.
Listen, you mind if I sneak in a line here with you?
Oh, well, actually, these guys were nice enough to let me in, so it's really up to them, I guess.
Melon, buddy, what do you say? Let me in, okay?
I don't think so, Osborne.
Melon, about your friend here, straighten him out.
Look, Chaz, there's a lot of people waiting. It wouldn't really be fair, you know?
I'll tell you what. Maybe if you got a note from each and every one of these people saying that it was all right, then we'd reconsider. But until that day, take a hike, you elitist fraternity scumbag.
I won't forget this, Melon.
Thornton attends his college classes, including those taught by American history professor Turgison, played by Sam Kinison.
Welcome to contemporary American history.
Who takes American history very, very seriously.
You remember that thing we had about 30 years ago called that Korean conflict? Yeah, where we failed to achieve victory. How come we didn't cross the 38th parallel and push those rice eaters back to the Great Wall of China and take the Berkeley brick and nuke them back into the fucking Stone Age River? How come? Tell me why! Say it! Say it!
All right, I'll say it. Because Truman was too much of a pussy wimp to let MacArthur go in there and blow out those commie bastards.
Good answer. I like the way you think.
A good teacher. He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea.
He also attends Dr. Barbet's business class, with his real-world business experience clashing with the intellectual professor.
There's also the architect's fees and the costs of land servicing.
Oh, you left out a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really? Like what, for instance?
Well, first of all, you're going to have to grease the local politicians for the sudden zoning problems that always come up. Then there's the kickbacks to the carpenters. And if you plan on using any cement in this building, I'm sure the teams would like to have a little chat with you, and that'll cost you.
That'll be quite enough, Mr. Mellon. Maybe bribes and kickbacks and mafia payoffs are how you do business. But they are not part of the legitimate business world. And they're certainly not part of anything I'm teaching in this class. Do I make myself clear?
Sorry, just trying to help, that's all.
The next question for us is where to build our factory.
How about Fantasyland?
Thornton begins dating Diane, while Jason becomes angered that his father seems to be having more fun doing partying than learning anything at all.
What's this?
Your astronomy report. What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? I want to write that paper. I'm going to write that paper. See, that's why I'm taking astronomy, is to learn something. You're never going to learn a goddamn thing if you got people doing your work for you. Oh, never mind.
Kids, they always do things the hard way.
This film had its script tweaked by Harold Ramis, who had directed Rodney Dangerfield in the 1980 hit Caddyshack. One of the last shots in the opening montage is of Rodney Dangerfield golfing. This was taken directly from his first film, Caddyshack. Most of the outdoors scenes at the college were shot on location at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Also, some of the classroom scenes were at California State University in Los Angeles. The movie was filmed in the fall of 1985. Bob Saget was briefly considered for the role of Professor Turgison due to his friendship with Rodney Dangerfield. However, Dangerfield did not feel that he was hard-edged and shocking enough to portray the character. Jim Carrey was also considered, but the filmmakers thought he was too young to play the professor. This film marks the feature film debut of actress Terry Farrell, who would wind up starring from 1998 to 2002 in the successful CBS comedy series Becker. Just like his character, in his youth, Rodney Dangerfield was an acrobatic high diver. Many restaurants in the United States have food items given names from this film, including the Triple Lindy in honor of the dive that Thornton Mellon does, as well as sandwiches called the Thornton Melon. In the film, Thornton Mellon makes a sandwich out of hors d'oeuvres. It consists of spanakopita, deviled eggs, and Swedish meatballs between 2 slices of hero bread.
Hey, buddy, come here, will you? Put your hand right over there, will you? I learned this in Europe.
William Zabka revealed that he tried to make Chaz funnier and less of a bully. He said that he made him way more funny than he actually turned out to be in the film. They cut out most of his comedy. In fact, the director pulled Zabka aside one day and told him to be more like the guy he played in the film The Karate Kid, and that he was coming off too likable and funny.
Derek, have you seen Jason?
I think he's on a 3-state killing spree. Oh, here's some more potentially bad news. Dean Martin was to see you in his office right away.
Dean Martin.
Ned Beatty's character of Dean Martin is an inside joke because Rodney Dangerfield had frequently performed on the Dean Martin Show in the 1970s. The room in which Thornton Mellon takes his 3-hour oral exam is the same room in which Jennifer Beals' character has a dance audition in the 1983 film Flashdance. Keith Gordon and Adrienne Barbeau had both starred in John Carpenter horror films. Adrienne Barbeau, who was married to John Carpenter in the early 1980s, starred in 2 of his films, 1980's The Fog and 1981's Escape from New York. Keith Gordon starred in John Carpenter's 1983 horror film Christine. Furthermore, the character of Diane's house is the same house that was used for the Doyle house where Jamie Lee Curtis's character babysat in the iconic 1978 horror classic Halloween. Back to School grossed a total of $91.3 million on just an $11 million budget. This movie was a massive box office hit and became the 4th highest grossing film of 1986, behind only Top Gun, Crocodile Dundee, and The Karate Kid Part 2. This movie opened the same week as the comedy film Ferris Bueller's Day Off. While it might be hard to imagine in the 21st century, back in 1986, this film Back to School was far bigger than Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Back to School is one of, if not the most successful movie at the United States box office not to get a theatrical release in the United Kingdom. This was one of 2 movies released in 1986 to feature the 1960s song Twist and Shout. The other movie was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which came out just 2 days before this film. After its use in both movies, the Beatles' version of Twist and Shout reached number 23 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 charts in September 1986. A popular music video featuring the Twist and Shout performance from this movie, including various clips from the film, played on MTV. Rodney Dangerfield also screened it during his live performances in the late 1980s. Danny Elfman sings and performs Dead Man's Party with his modern rock band Oingo Boingo in the party scene. He was also responsible for composing the movie's score.
Oh, I love 3 girls at once. Bipolar Steve got each other to talk to.
In the 2010s, there were many comparisons made between this film's fictional character of Thornton Mellon and United States President Donald Trump. Rodney Dangerfield's characters in this movie, as well as 1980's Caddyshack, have been compared to the persona of Donald Trump, and many news articles stated that the lasting appeal of the humorous rich businessman who is despised by the educational elite crowd could have subconsciously helped lead to the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States. I'm not going to lie, ever since Donald Trump became the President of the United States, I cannot watch the character of Thornton Mellon, or Al Czervik in Caddyshack for that matter, without thinking of President Donald Trump.
I hereby dedicate this building to myself.
I first saw this movie when I taped it off the Friday Night Movie in 1994 when I was a little kid. I find myself watching it from time to time, and it's fantastic. It is funny, though, that this movie has kind of declined in popularity from when I was a kid in the 1990s. For example, Ferris Bueller's Day Off seemed less popular in the 1990s than the 2020s, while Back to School was far more popular in the 1990s than the 2020s.
I was surprised how much I liked this movie. I wasn't surprised because I like Rodney Dangerfield as soon as I see him on camera. As the camera hits him and I start to laugh. What amazed me is that it worked within the setting, because you would think that the last person that you'd want to go to school with would be one of your parents. I mean, you'd be pleased that you wouldn't enjoy it. But if this guy were your dad, school would be a lot of fun, because he's a blast. Yeah. And he has this whole, I'm an immigrant, I made millions of dollars, let's have a party. Life should be a party. And he's absolutely irresistible on camera. The character is beautifully written, beautifully played by Dangerfield. It's a ball. I had a terrific time.
I highly recommend the 1986 box office hit, Back to School.